This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone. Uh, Today we are going to see in this video about queues. What is streaming queues? Streaming queues. Streaming queues introduced in the version if you are using continuous delivery, it's introduced 9.2.3.0. If you are using LTS, it can be shown in 9.3.0.0. Streaming queues, the main purpose of streaming queues is to copy the messages. Like it will make a xerox of the message. For example, there is a queue for assume there is a queue manager. There is a queue manager. Let us assume my queue manager name is here, queue manager one. Now there is a queue called, let us assume Q1. Assume there is a queue called Q1. There is one more new queue called Q2. Consider there is one more new queue called Q2. Now my requirement is here. Now my front end application, my live application, let us assume, trying to connect to this queue and putting the messages, and back end some receiving application is trying to get the messages. It's fine. Now I have got a requirement that I want to copy one set of messages to Q1 to Q2. Whenever application puts message in Q1, one copy of the message should come to Q2, one copy of the message should go to Q1. Regularly, we are using this type of scenarios. Front end application will take, and in Q2 we are going to store that messages temporarily to for analyzing the purpose. What type of messages, what is the performance for analyzing purpose. In these scenarios, we are using for streaming queue concept. Earlier we have pub and sub concept. Similarly, this, but it is very easy. But some more advantages we have in the streaming queues. Earlier, if you want to copy the message from one queue to another queue, we must use the pub and sub concept. From 9.3 or 9.2.3 CDS, we can directly use the streaming queue. The main purpose of streaming queue, we can copy a Xerox on one copy of message to other queues, whichever you want. Later, we can analyze and we can use for analyzing purpose to store the message for the performance. That purpose we can use that one. Okay, let me make some example. Let me go with single queue manager, and later I'll show you how the streaming queues can be configured in alias queue, remote queues, and dqm concept. All these things we can see. First, let me create a queue manager, a small queue manager. Switch as mqm user, create a queue manager, crt mqm queue manager 1. Let me start my queue manager 1. Go inside queue manager. I have a queue called define queue local of q1. I have one more new queue called q2. Now my requirement is here. My application will try to connect put message in Q1, but one copy message will go to Q1. Other copy of message should go to Q2 also. Now first, just now my stream queue, we can consider my original base queue is Q1. My stream queue is Q2. Now let us assume alter queue local of my queue name is here Q1. We need to use the stream queue concept of Q2. Now here the base queue is Q1, my stream queue is Q2. Now when our application try to put message is Q1, one copy of message will go to Q2 also. Now let me see display queue local of Q1. Now you can see stream Q is Q2. I'll show you there is two stream OS, there is two properties will be there. By default, it will take best DF. It's nothing but best efforts and must duplicate. Next concept, I will cover that concept. Let us see. Now display queue status of Q1. Currently there are no messages available in the queue, zero messages are there. Display queue status of Q2. Currently there are no messages in Q2 also. Now whenever I try to put the messages optmqm sam bin amqs put, I want to put message in Q1, it go to message queue manager 1. Let me retrieve from 5 messages. Now go and check inside queue manager. Display queue status of Q1. Display queue status of Q2. See, my application try to connect the messages in Q1. I try to put in Q1, they keep 5 messages. One copy of message went to Q1, another copy message went to Q2 also. Same message is copied from Q1 to Q2. In this way, how it is going to be work it out. Okay, this is the main purpose of a stream queue, just to copy the messages from a Xerox like it. To duplicate the messages, if you want this concept, we can use the stream queue concept. Now there is one more property in stream queue. If you see here, display queue local of q1 stream queue, and there is a property called best ef. If I take a stream OS property, there are two values for this stream OS property. By default, it will take for best EF. Best EF. Best EF. Okay, no. Best EF. Best EF stands for best effort. And there is one more property called must duplicate. Must duplicate. Must dupe stands for DUP, I think it is. Must dupe stands for must duplicate. By default, it will take this the default value. What is the difference between these two? Let us see. Must effort. What is the use of must effort? Must effort means, for let me take one scenario. Same scenario. Let me try to get all the messages. Let me clear the messages. Let me try to get better. OPT MQ SAM bin AMQS get. I want to get message in Q1. My queue manager name is queue manager. Try to get message in Q2. Sorry, Q2. It's in queue manager one. Okay, we are good. Now go inside queue manager. Display queue status of Q1. Currently there are zero messages in Q1. Currently there are zero messages in Q2. Now let me take one scenario. The best effort right now, my here I keep in the property stream OS as best effort. If you see here, display Q local of Q1. My stream key is Q2. My stream OS is best effort. If you keep best effort, if something goes wrong for the stream queue, for example, there is a consider there is one scenario, your stream queue get full, your stream queue unable to take the duplicate messages or Xerox messages. At that time, original flow is not going to be disturbed. Let me take one scenario here. Let me keep here my max depth here for 10. My max depth I am keeping as 10. Now if my stream queue depth is full, the original flow is not going to be disturbed. The message, why? Because my original q1, they has the capacity to hold the messages. The original flow is not going to be disturbed. If you, let me try here, let me take here alter. Okay, already it is best ef, right? Okay, alter q local of q2. Let me keep my max depth as 10. Now try to put 20 messages. Nothing is going to be happen. OPT MQM SAM bin AMQS put. I want to put message in Q1. My queue manager is queue manager. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now my stream queue will receive only 10 messages. My stream queue will receive only 10 messages, because remaining messages, because the queue is full and you have keeping the property as best efforts. Now my local queue will receive 20 messages. The Xerox remaining 10 messages might be lost here. Let us see here. Display queue status of Q1. Currently, I have 20 messages in Q1. If I see here Q2, only 10 messages is there. Why? Because my Q2 max depth is full. Hence, we have given the property of best efforts. Best efforts will not touch the original flow. If there is a problem with your stream queue, it is not going to touch the original flow. Original flow is going to be as it is. But if you keep the property like this, alter q local of q1, stream queue property same time keeping q2, and stream OS I am keeping as stream OS. I am keeping as must do. Now if there is a problem with your stream queue, now if your stream queue unable to take the messages, for the original flow is also going to be disturbed. Let us try. Let me clear the messages. Let me clear, or you can get anything you can do. Clear. Okay, mqs get. Yes, I'm able to get messages in Q1, and I'm able to get messages from Q1 also. We are successful. Now try to put 20 messages. It will, even the original flow is also going to be disturbed. Let us try. Let me try put message. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you try to put 11th messages, we are getting 205. Even the Q1 capacity is there. But the problem with the stream queue. Now go and check here MQRC2053. You know it's a queue full error, regular error what we are going to get here. Now display Q local of Q1. If you see max depth, sorry, display q local of q1 and max depth. If you see here, max depth and current depth, sorry, max depth and current depth. Okay, and similarly see in the q2, here max depth current depth is full for stream q, not for the original base q. That's the wish. If you want the stream queue, sir, I want there should be no loss for stream queues also, then must and should you use the property display q local of q1. Now must and should you use the property must duplicate. If you use must duplicate, if there is any problem for your stream queue also, the original flow is going to be stopped and it's to an error. If you use must do best effort best effort BESTF, then if there is any problem with the stream queue, the base queue flow is not going to be disturbed. The base flow is going to be happened successfully. Okay, what are the scenarios if you want? Based on the scenarios, you can use these concepts. Okay, this is about stream queues. Now let me take one example for DQM concept or some alias queue. Let me take one DQM concept. In DQM concept, how the stream queue can be configured. Okay, let me try. Let me do dqm concept of, let me take two more queue managers. Let me delete this queue manager. Okay, let me delete this. Let me take two queue managers, crtmqm queue manager 1 and strmqm queue manager 1. There is one more server already, it is ready, bspmq. Let me create one more new queue manager. Let me take this. Okay, let me remove this. I have two queue managers. This one queue manager is queue manager 1. Another queue manager is here queue manager 2. Okay. This is queue manager 1. This is queue manager 2. Now I want to create components. Let us assume I have a queue called receive queue for destination side. For holding the messages, I have a receiver channel and I have a listener. I have the listener also. Source side, I have sender channel, a remote queue. Let me create here a remote queue and transmission queue. Okay, this is my local queue for receiving the messages. Now this is my receiver channel 2.qmgr2, and this is my sender channel, and this is my listener qmgr2.lstr. Port number, let us assume 1415 is my port number, and this is my remote queue, and this is my transmission queue. Okay, let me configure this concept. My requirement is here, whenever application puts message in remote queue, that message should go to receive queue. Once the message come to receive queue, I want one more copy of the messages should go to other queue called xyz. This is my xy other queue called xyz. Here my xyz is my stream queue for receive queue. Okay, let me consider this setup. Okay, let me configure this. Let me configure this. strmqm queue manager 2. Run mqsc queue manager 2. Define queue local of receive queue for holding the messages. Define channel of channel in 2 dot queue manager to channel type is here receiver. Define listener of listener name. Now queue manager 2 dot lstr trp type tcp port of 1415. Start listener of listener name. Check the listener status is running or not. Now listener status is running. Now go to source queue manager. Go to source queue manager, run mqsc queue manager one. Define queue local of queue manager to usage of xmit queue. Define channel of channel in 2 dot queue manager to channel type SDR xmit queue of transmission queue. Name of queue manager to IP address. Let me see what is my IP address of server 2. Okay. Yeah, let me take the IP address. And my port number is here 1415. Now try to start the channel. My channel is in running status 2 dot queue manager 2. Now it is now create the remote queue. Define queue remote of send queue. R name the message should go to receive queue. R queue and message should go to queue manager 2. Exit queue of queue manager 2. Now try to put the messages in remote queue. It will go to destination local queue. AMQS put Sam bin AMQS put. I want to put message in send queue. My queue manager name is here queue manager 1. Now try to get the messages. Let me see the message come to receive queue. Successful. Now is the messages. OPTMQ Sam bin AMQS get receive queue manager successfully message delivered. Now my requirement is here. Now whenever application puts messages in my send queue remote queue, the messages are going to receive queue. Now I want one more set of the message should come to receive queue. Whenever message comes to receive queue, one copy should go to XYZ queue also. Simple. Now make this one. Go to queue manager 2. Define queue local of XYZ. Now alter the property. Alter local queue of receive queue. Alter local queue of receive queue. Stream queue of XYZ. That's all. Now whenever application puts the message on remote queue, it will go to destination local queue called receive queue. When our remote queue, whenever application puts message on remote queue, it will go to receive queue. Once the message come to receive queue, one copy will go to XYZ also. Now try here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 messages. Now go and see here. Display queue status of XYZ. Now you can see 10 messages come to receive queue. Check in receive queue also. Now my receive queue also successfully received 10 messages. In this way we can configure all these things. Now I have a requirement that I want to keep one more copy, one set of messages in source queue manager also. Anyhow, why? Because stream queue now you cannot configure. You can configure stream queue to a local queue or alias queue. You cannot configure a stream queue to a stream queue. For example, if you drop, there is one more queue called ABC. Let us assume this type of setups cannot be configured. For example, ABC. Now, ABC cannot be a stream queue for XYZ. It will not accept. If you try to make also, it will throw an error. Let me try here. Define queue local of ABC. If you try to make alter queue local of XYZ, stream queue of ABC, it will throw an error, it will not accept. See, a parameter conflict due to queue is already being a stream queue. For a stream queue, you cannot configure a stream queue. Okay, it is not going to be acceptable. Now, you cannot configure like this. Now, I got a requirement that now my requirement is here I want to keep one set of messages in queue manager one itself, in source queue manager only. Other set should go to receive queue. In these scenarios, what you can do, right? You can create one more stream queue for your remote queue. Stream queues can be configured to alias queue. local queue and remote queues. Pub and sub. Publishers also we can use for that. But stream queues cannot be configured for XMIT queues. Transmission queues, we cannot configure the stream queues. Now let us assume my queue name is here. Let us assume my queue name, for example, send Q1. Or otherwise you can take, let me example for LQ1, local Q1. Let us assume this is LQ1. Now you need to configure a stream queue for your remote queue. How you are going to configure? How you are going to configure here? Go to queue manager 1, define queue local of LQ1. How you are going to configure now? Alter queue local of LQ1 stream queue of my remote queue name is here send queue. Now ask your application team, don't put messages in a remote queue. Ask them put messages in this local queue. Once messages landed into local queue, one copy of messages are going to sit here, other copy of messages are going to sit in the remote queue. Once messages come to remote queue adds the TX header and sends this message to this queue. Sender channel takes it, gives the receiver channel, and again receiver channel reads the TX header and keeps the message in this news queue. And once the message landed in this queue, already the receive queue has one more stream queue XYZ. This message will be distributed like this. Now try to see here. Now try to put messages in OPT MQM SAM bin um, AMQS put LQ1. My queue manager name is here queue manager. 5 messages I have given. Go inside queue manager. Now see here, display queue status of LQ1. LQ1 has 5 messages and destination local queue might be it will increases. Display queue local of XYZ. You can see display queue status of XYZ. 15 messages are there. And similar previously they have 10 messages are there. It has 15 more messages. In this way, how it can configure. Remember one point, stream queues cannot be configured for XMIT queues. So you can configure for clustering queues, you can configure for alias queues, you can configure for remote queues also. Okay, in these scenarios, if you see in these scenarios, the messages or one copy of messages are going to store in the source side, other copy of messages will go to the destination side. But you have the you need to know when you need to use the best effort or when you want to use the must duplicate. By default it is the best effort IBM recommends, but in case if you don't want to lose the duplicate messages also, you have to use the effort called must dupe. Okay, this is the feature which was reduced from the MQ 9.3 if you are using LTS. If you are using CD continuous delivery, you can go for 9.2.0 version. Okay, that's about streaming queues. I'll come with a new topic. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Thank you, guys.